Well, it's not going to be that long from now.
Long before March the 4th.
So soon is the word.
There's about 1 month before it.
Soon.
Very soon indeed.
Coming to
Watch
us.
this space. Very soon indeed.
Right.
We are going to announce that. But we will involve all of you because we want you to participate like is expected of every of the decisions we have made.
So you're giving me to believe that people are jostling for governorships and senatorships without knowing at this stage what they're going to earn?
May I tell you, one of the aspirants asked me, I want to go in for senator or governor. Could you give me just a range of what I will get? And I told him, you will have a root shock. I would rather you're going in to give service, not to earn a salary. Because I want a team currently, and we want to change the culture of Kenya from we want to earn, from we want to serve. And this is what we want to sell as a message to the rest of the Kenyans.
Mrs. Serem, there's always what I call the Kivuitu factor in Kenyan society, which is the idea of someone like yourself, who's the team leader, who makes tremendous assurances that nothing will go wrong and is trying to invest the destiny of a nation in their own person. First of all, are you going to be chairperson for life?
No. My term is specific. It's 6 years, but salaries and remuneration is there to stay. So it doesn't have to be Mrs.
And where in the
age.
6 years are you now?
We've done 1 year.
Right. So you've got another 5 years to go.
We've got 5 years to go.
And in that 5 years, what if your own managerial skills are wanting? What if I went back to the files and perhaps discovered that you didn't make such a wonderful go of it at the Post Bank, or you didn't make such a wonderful go of it in Mumias? Not that I have, but I'm trying to suggest for the rational discourse, are you necessarily the right person for the job?
Absolutely, yes. I look at my past experience and I have carried myself through the experience of managing human resource for all my life. Indeed, that is where I've been over the years. For me to have been a board member of Mumias, it was for the very same experience that I've earned over the years. I have the qualifications. I have a master's degree in human resource management. So for me, this is truly a very relevant area to serve. And I must say, I will put my entire self to it.
Right, the rollout process, I think that's what you say, rolling things out. I want this rollout process. Do you see what you will have done? Have you set benchmarks for yourself that we can look forward and go back and say that Mrs. Serem said on this occasion that in a year's time this and this would happen? This again is a somewhat loaded question in the sense that you could meet resistance along the way.
We have met resistance, but we have stayed the course. Because I think there will be no leadership that will not
But
get
Mrs. Serem, let me tell you, there are regions in Kenya which they've accused the government of having neglected them over huge periods of time. For 50 years you've neglected us, we've done nothing. Now, when you come up with this salary scale, if the region has been neglected and the richest man in a neglected area has, let us say for argument's sake, 2 cows, and then all of a sudden he becomes the governor and earns enough to be the owner of 20 cows, aren't you going to make a complete economic disparity within regions? In other words, is the governor in Nairobi going to earn the same as, and I don't want to name a place because then I'm suggesting that such a place is backward, but you know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are these uniform, centralized salaries going to respond to the needs of the moment?
I think what we need to focus on is the fact that a devolved government means you're taking the decisions right to the people and sharing the wealth of this country. If we focus on one centralized body...
But you said earlier on that you're going to centralize everything.
Decentralize.
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 Right.
The
So in other words, the governor of a place in Kenya will decide how much, they will decide how much their governor ought to earn independently.
Not. Absolutely not.
No, but then I've been trying to follow your argument very closely, therefore I'm lost. Because now you're leading things and you're saying, we, wherever I come from, will lead our things. That's not the same thing.
Probably you're the one leading, losing me.
Yes.
I wanted to make it very clear.
Well, it's a completely clean slate. I'm just following your argument. Maybe there's a prong there that I've missed.
Here we are. The object of establishing a Salaries and Remuneration Commission is to ensure that there is a focused approach in determining remuneration for all the public sector. starting with the state officers. And governors are state officers, whether they are serving in
Well,
Nairobi,
let me go back to my question. Before you finish, let me take the rich cities, for example.
Yes.
The governor of Kisumu, the governor of Nairobi, the governor of Eldoret will earn the same as any other governor anywhere else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they are governors.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm suggesting that one governor is going to end up being very, very rich in some part of the country, and the other governor is going to be unable to go to Chumi and buy a can of milk, because to survive in those two areas, one is super rich and one is suffering. Surely. That's why people like teachers are loath to go to certain, to be deployed here, because the quality of life isn't quite it. And you know exactly what I'm trying to get at.
John,
I don't want to get into naming names of places
yes,
where I wouldn't go, because I'd be quoted on that. But I think we both understand what I'm trying to ask
John,
you about.
By the way, that's why we exist. Those disparities have to be removed, because we don't want to have somebody who feels more special than another. One of the factors as we came in, as we looked at the disparities in this country, is even within the permanent secretaries currently, they are super PSs because they are earning more than the others. What does
but
that
Mrs.
do
Serem,
with
what you should have done,
performance?
what the founding fathers should have done,
yes,
is to make it a job description where I might contemplate being a governor outside my comfort zone, which was a sort of line of thinking presented by, we're going back in the past to Minister Peter Okondo, who sort of wrote out his magic book about Kenya.
Yes.
And he was saying, there are two things. He was saying the best people to rule the place are the people who come from the region.
How else will you know the challenges within the Wajir area if you were to be taken there, John, and be the governor? Because you need to have grown within the system.
Because
you need to know the resources within the
I
system.
love my country, and when I go and find that they're suffering from this, that, and the other, I will do my very best to sort it out.
That is truly a grade. But I can guarantee
you're saying
you,
our government officials will only be driven by national. There'll be 1,000 different little countries in Kenya in a week's time.
they had better be.
Thanks to you.
What I see coming is the kind of growth that we envisage with this devolved government. Because if you are a governor that feels of equal value to the governor that is in what you're calling a rich institution or a rich
Let's
county.
fast forward. The governor of Turkana.
Yes.
We're suddenly producing enough oil. We've neglected Turkana for the last 50 years.
Right.
It seems to me that if my particular neck of the woods is producing 10,000 barrels of oil a day,
And
I'm different. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I am the governor of California, a state which, if it were a country, would have the 5th largest economy in the world. Yet it's still part of the United States. So it seems to me that sitting at a dinner table, Arnold Schwarzenegger might have been slightly richer than the other governors around him. And I'm saying, how can you make him take the same salary as everybody else? And I'm still saying, yours is a thankless and hopeless task.
John, at the end of all this period and time, once these systems of salaries and remuneration will have been set, we will all sit back and say it was worth it. Because the minute we put differentials within the governorship, it will still be the very same system that we have devolved.
And what are your linkages with other people who are going to give you the money? Will all the counties have enough money so that of all these people who've now been with their governors, their senators, will they have enough money to pay them all these wonderful salaries which you're going to come up with?
May I tell you what happened over time with the centralized government? The resources that developed most of the cities we have now came from all these other counties. The minute we empower them, and empowering salaries is part of that empowerment, is to encourage them to ensure that they can focus on their resources and bring them out. And I see that happening through the setting of the salaries.
The final word from you, Mrs.
Yes,
Serem, is
John.
to the people. Now, forget your committee. What would you say to me as one Wanjiko, so to speak, in a sentence or two?
We are changing the culture of this country. We're changing the culture from those who are called the important animals into all animals in Kenya are equal. And we want to encourage each one of them to participate as a bona fide member of this country without necessarily thinking that they are those who are supposed to be the leaders and we are the followers. Each one of us has a participation in ensuring that this country is able to sustain itself. It is time to give service, not to eat from the very same people that you are leading. A good leader sacrifices even his own self for the benefit of his followers. And that is the encouragement I want to give to the leaders.
Sarah Serem, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.